am Amy Vetter, and welcome to the Breaking Beliefs podcast. This valuable time is for you to pause in your day and go on your own self-journey. Discover the beliefs that are holding you back from living your best life at work and at home. Learn from the guests on this show as they share their inspirational stories on how they found ways to break internal beliefs that were no longer serving them. Because if you believe you can, you will. And our podcast begins now. Welcome to this episode of Breaking Beliefs, where I interview Courtney Stefaniak. She is a third-generation full-time licensed realtor with the Stefaniak Group, a local independent family brokerage in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. She currently serves as a member of the GMAR Professional Standards Committee and the GMAR Board of Directors as chair-elect. She specializes in real estate sales and works full-time with home buyers. In my interview with Courtney, we talked about her being a third generation, having her grandfather start the business in 1952. She currently works with her father, her brother, and other relatives in the business, and she has shared how she carved out her own path in the family business and has developed confidence along the way. Hi, and welcome to this episode of the Breaking Beliefs podcast. Today, I'm with Courtney Stefaniak. And Courtney, do you want to start off and just let us know a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'd love to. First off, thanks for having me. I'm really honored and excited to be on your podcast.
Well, this is fun.
Yeah. I've listened to a couple episodes, so hopefully this will be a good one for you.
Good.
As you said, I'm Courtney Stefaniak. I work for a local independent family brokerage called Stefaniak Group. I've been here for 11 years now, so quite some time. My family actually started this company, my late grandfather and his brother, back in 1952.
Okay.
So I'm third generation realtor.
Very cool.
Yes. So we've been around, would have been around the block in Milwaukee, in the Milwaukee area. Basically, our mission here at Stefaniak has been to provide service and to serve the communities, where we're located in. I think that being more of an independent boutique style brokerage, it's really allowed us to connect on more of a personal and, relationship level with our clients.
Yeah. And I think that in this day and age with so much automation in the industry and so forth, I'm sure.
Yeah, you lose a little bit of that human interaction. I feel like nowadays everything is online, which is awesome. Technology has been a huge help in our business,
right,
for sure. But I think it's still so important that we have that face-to-face interaction and really guide our clients through this home buying and selling process.
Yeah.
I mean, they're trusting us with like the biggest financial decision of their lives.
Yeah.
So I think to have that level of customer service and interaction is still important.
Yeah. When you think about just the real estate industry and, if you're developing those kinds of relationships, you're going to be involved in good parts of it, hard parts in people's relationships, and all on the way. So that trusting piece is so important.
It's huge. I mean, we don't just help people buy and sell houses.
Yeah.
There's times when you feel like maybe you're a therapist or, whatever. So it's definitely a lot more than that. And that's why I think we say a lot of the times that we don't just help buy and sell houses, we sell service.
Right.
So that's really been our main focus here.
Cool. So I want to start back because I think this is such an interesting business.
Okay.
Right? With 3 generations of family members doing all the same profession. So why did your grandfather start in the first place?
He was actually a professor here at a local college, UW Milwaukee. Started Stefaniak Group with his brother, like I said, back in the 50s. And then, he had 10 children.
Oh, wow.
So of those 10, 3 followed in the footsteps and are in the business. And that would be my dad, Pete Stefaniak, my 2 aunts, Jean Stefaniak and Beth Savis, and then my dad's cousin, Peter Michael Stefaniak. So now there are 4 main brokers. And then there is my dad's other cousin, Tracy, myself, and my younger brother, Ryan, and I are 3rd generation, which is crazy to say, but we really love what we do. And I think I might be, after listening to a couple of episodes, I might be your only guest that's had the same career since the start.
Yeah.
So, I got my license in college. I went to Marquette University here in Milwaukee, and then graduated in 2008 and had my real estate license in 2009.
So your grandfather, what was his passion around real estate? Like, why did he change from being a professor?
I think actually the passion came from the teaching side. I mean, that was really his passion.
Is that what he was teaching, was real estate?
Yeah, real estate marketing. Yeah, he actually wrote a book called Real Estate Marketing. I have to leave you with a copy. But I think that was really the main passion, was that being like the number one thing was education with him. So I think that, and then just sharing his knowledge with everybody else in the industry.
And then, so for your dad and other siblings that got into this, were they doing it for their love of their father, or was this something that was a passion for them as well? And why, like, how did that carry?
Yeah, I mean, I think probably a little bit of both. I know when my dad first started, he really had the sales mindset, and he's a really great salesman. So I think he was more into the selling side. And I think as far as like myself and my brother, we did definitely have an interest in the business. And I think we did want to follow in the family's footsteps. So that definitely led me here. But I also think that there's so much more that goes along with it than just buying and selling.
Right.
We do a lot to give back to this industry that's been so good to our family. We volunteer a lot of our time. You know, I serve on a couple of committees locally and at the state level. So there's a lot of other things that we're really involved with the real estate industry.
So when you were younger, was your father taking you out with him, or
I mean,
in the office?
I have been to my fair share of home inspections. Yeah, I was younger, that's for sure. No, but he was really good about that stuff. He was always really busy. My mom worked part-time in hospital and healthcare, so she's not in the real estate industry. But
so what got your passion going with it?
I think just being able to help people reach like their homeownership goals. You know, this is sometimes, if not every time, somebody's biggest financial purchase that they're going to make throughout their lifetime. So the trust that they place in us to help guide them through this process, I think really was attractive to me. Going into it, I didn't quite realize the hours and commitment that it took. You know, it's great that you get to set your own hours and you have unlimited vacation time, but if you don't work and you don't sell, well, then, you know, you're not making a career out of it.
So walk me through your kind of beginnings with this. Was there a sale or a learning or a lesson in the beginning that you're like, this is for me? Or did you have doubt in the beginning?
I think there were definitely doubts, because my first full year of real estate was 2009. So if we talk about the 2009 market compared to the 2020 market, back in 2009, it was plenty of listings, low consumer confidence, you know, all of that. And then going into it, I think I was 22. So I had a lack of self-confidence. You know, I think a lot of people looked at me like, oh, she's young, you know, what kind of experience does she have? So all of those definitely played into my mindset, I guess, in that first year.
But how'd you overcome that?
I think just sticking with it, because once you close your first deal, you're super excited. You're like, okay, I got one under my belt. I'm going to start to get the hang of this. And I felt like if I can make it through the lowest point of the real estate market,
right,
I should be good moving forward, right? So that's kind of, you know, the mindset that I had was, this is going to be the best time for me to learn the business was at the lowest point.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, having that in the back of my mind really helped me.
Did you have a long-term vision? So when things were bad that you could tie yourself to?
I mean, my dad would kind of explain, you know, the highs and lows of the market. Like he'd always be like, back in the 80s when interest rates were 12 or 13%, you know, stuff like that. But I had never really experienced the highs and lows. It was only the lows. So I was like, I guess I can only go up from here.
Right.
So having that kind of mindset, I think, was really helpful to me.
Yeah. With that, as you started progressing through your career, what were some key lessons that you learned, whether it's relationship lessons or ways that you have found that have helped you to be more successful in what you do?
Yeah. So full disclosure, I'm still working on implementing all of these things, but definitely learning how to set boundaries in my business. That's so hard, especially in a fast-paced market like the one that we're in. You have to be ready to go. You are on call, you know, 24/7 if a new listing comes up. So definitely setting those boundaries, not letting my business control me. You know, I'm in control of my business. What else can I say? I think setting time for myself or my husband for self-care, you know, going to the gym and working out, and maybe setting those as appointments on my calendar and keeping those appointments with myself.
Right.
So I think that's definitely helped me keep those boundaries.
And how do you, so I think most entrepreneurs struggle with this, right? No matter what business you're in, whether it's in a sales business or running a business, and that those boundaries of how do you still show you care when you set the boundaries. So what has been effective for you?
I mean, I think I'm still very responsive. You know, now with technology and social media, there's 10 different ways for someone to get a hold of you at any point in time. So I think I'm very open and responsive in that sense, that if I see something, I'm likely not going to ignore you. You know, I'm going to respond. I'm one of those people that if I see an email or see a text, like I want to reply right away. So I think that's helpful, and letting my clients know, like, hey, I am here for you. If it's an evening or weekend, like this is just a part of our business. So I think that's kind of helped. And also too, just, you know, sticking to these boundaries in a sense where if you see, you know, something urgent that needs to be taken care of right away, of course I'm going to make exceptions. You know, you don't want to make somebody miss out on a house or something like that. So of course there are times I think where you would make exceptions. But I think, you know, just really maybe turning off your phone after a certain time, or not checking my email first thing when I wake up, because it sort of sets the tone for the rest of your day. So those are just little things that I try to do just to make sure that my day at least starts off on a positive note.
So what do you do at the beginning of the day?
Usually wake up and do my little journaling, or maybe a couple gratitudes. I usually will go work out first thing in the morning just so I can get it done, not put it off. It's nice to have that hour just to myself too. And I think then after that, you know, maybe come home, then look at the email, or then look at the text messages.
Yes. So one of the things that you know, when you're setting boundaries is allowing or being honest about it, you know, rather than just, you know, someone emails you and you're not responding, but you're saying like certain times of the day, just want to be honest with you, I put my phone away. So make sure you reach me before 6 o'clock or else I won't be coming back till 7 a.m. Is there a time where you communicate that to your clients so that they at least know, like, you're not responding and not ignoring that?
Right. For sure. I mean, if I'm on vacation or out of town, it's great here because I know I have a family member that can back me up. Or if I'm not, you know, on my emails, I have somebody that can back me up. Right. So that's really good that we have that support system here.
Yeah. So going into this industry, having known you were going to go into it, is there anything surprising along the way that you're like, oh, I thought it would feel like this, but it feels different than that?
I mean, it's a really tough business to be in. I think if you're somebody that's considering getting into the real estate market, or even if you do it full time. I know a lot of people that only sell part time. Right. And they're maybe afraid to make the jump into full time. It's definitely not easy. You definitely have to track your activities instead of your results, because we all kind of track our results, right? We track like how many houses we sold, our volume, where those transactions may have came from, but what are we doing to track the activities that produce those results? Right. So I think that's really important for people to remember is, you know, the sales calls and the mailers and knocking on doors and just getting the grind and getting face to face with as many people as you can. I guess that really goes for any business too. If you're thinking maybe, you know, you want to make your side hustle your main business or something. So I've been, you know, seeing a lot of people doing that. So I think that's awesome.
Yeah. Now, I've talked to a number of people that are part of a family business, and I know the nice thing is you all have your individual book of business. Right. Sure. There's always that division of how you keep family and work. So, or any kind of family dynamics that get triggered in the workplace. So how have you been able to handle that? You've got siblings, you got parents.
We're really lucky. We're all independent contractors here. So like you said, we kind of all do our own thing, have our own business, you know, work for our own business and have our own clients. Right. The overlap doesn't happen so much. You know, maybe if I'm out of town or somebody's out of town, we can cover for each other. But luckily, knock on wood, we haven't had much, I guess, family conflict with that type of thing because we're not working in that team dynamic. You know, we're all under the same roof.
Yeah. So how do you separate work and family? Like if you're in family situations with everybody, are you talking about work?
I try not to, but it's hard not to talk about it just because like real estate is a universal language. Everybody's interested in it. Everybody has maybe thought about buying or has owned a house at one point in their life. So everybody knows like 10 realtors. Right. So it's hard not to talk about it. But considering, you know, we have other family members that are not in the business. Right. And it's nice sometimes just to talk about anything else.
Well, especially just trying to get family get-togethers if you're all in this business is probably hard.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, my dad's one of 10 siblings. So getting everybody in the same room is like a rare occasion.
Yeah. But are there any expectations that, you know, from the way that they did it versus the way you might be doing it in a new generation?
And it's funny that you say that because I just had, you know, my dad and I just talk about new things and what he's done over the years and what I'm thinking about doing going forward. And he always gives me the ideas of what has worked for him for the past 40 years, which is awesome. And it totally does work. But then I have my new ideas that kind of revolve around technology and social media and the millennial home buyer, you know, dynamic. So it's funny to like, I'll bounce my ideas off him and he just is kind of like, okay, why don't you do this? I know that works, but at some point, like, you know, I'm okay with the status quo, but we always got to be ready for the next thing.
Yeah. So how do you work through conversations like that?
I mean, I take what he says and I'm still doing,
Right.
the things that have to work for, because I know they work. That's how I've, been in business for 11 years. So of course I'm still going to do that. But I think it's so important to incorporate the next stage.
Right.
We're going to have millions of new people online in the next 10 years or so. So just to be able to reach a little bit of, a piece of that market too, I think is really important.
So how do you go about negotiating that as far as what the office does and markets and so forth?
The cool thing I think about us is that if I want to do that, I can do that.
Right.
And it's just
it's your
Courtney, Stefaniak. Yep, exactly. My investment. I would love for them to be involved. And everybody does kind of have their own online social media presence. But I think we could step it up a little bit. So we'll see what happens. I'm still working through a couple of ideas there.
Well, and it is a interesting thing, the fact that you're all independent, but under one umbrella, right?
Right. Yeah,
so even if you're independent, like from a marketing perspective, you're still seen as one umbrella. So
exactly.
So how you actually go through the transition of generations as, new thought processes of leadership and being empowered.
Right. Yeah.
To doing those things and changing the conversation.
Yeah. So it's definitely going to be interesting. Like I said, I have a couple of cool new ideas, so I'm looking forward to implementing some of those and testing some of those out. Yeah. But I think I will always have their support.
Right.
No matter what. I'm not trying to, go off on my own or anything like that. It's always going to be Courtney, Stefaniak group.
Right. Which is very important. That in a lot of family businesses that the next generation feels supported.
Right.
Even if it doesn't go like planned, but it's important that you have the freedom to
try. Hey, you tried. Okay, now go back to my tried and true ways.
I mean, I remember when, so I own a yoga studio.
Okay.
And when my oldest son started working there, he was like 15 or 16, and we were promoting through Facebook, and he's like, who would be on Facebook? And I was like, well, our customers. And so he's like, yeah, but we're all on Snapchat. And I'm like, all right, you're in charge of Snapchat.
Yep.
Because I know nothing about it. I don't know how to, work that market. And so it's important to understand the site, like you said, of the next generation, and then where are they paying attention?
Right, exactly. It's so many different things. Right. It's hard to keep up with what the next one is. So.
Yeah. But if you've got the overarching theme of relationship driven, then everything you do is how you create that.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what do you picture as an evolution in your own path with this and see into the future of what you're trying to build?
Yeah, I just kind of want to portray myself as somebody that, is willing to really help and guide people who are interested, maybe first time or second time home ownership, people who are interested in investment property. My 2 investment properties under my belt right now, and so I think we'd be a good resource for that. Right now, a good chunk of my business has been first time buyers. Being a younger person in the business, I think I do attract a lot of the millennial clientele, which is awesome. It's really been exciting to see a lot of young people, purchase their first home. Right. So,
and you understand probably different issues for that generation, because a lot of them don't want to, they're going to be independent as well, and how
and
they
a lot
can
of them
approve
too.
for
I
loans.
think what we really try to express to a lot of them is that even if you maybe you have some student loans, maybe your credit's not perfect, or you don't have 20% down, those are all okay. You can still explore home ownership, and it's still possible.
So, and I think this is just another important thing of whatever you do as far as your career, your business, where you're kind of honing in on the niche area of this is where your expertise is, at least for now.
Yeah.
That you can nurture this type of group really well, because sometimes when you draw your net too wide, then you can't help someone as much as where you could grow with these customers.
Right. And that was my thought process too behind it was, maybe they're younger millennials now, but if staying with them throughout the years, that could really, really build into something a lot bigger.
Yeah. So what do you think has given you the confidence to be in this 100% sales role, right? At the end of the day.
Yeah.
Is it from watching your family, or is it something internal in you that you feel the confidence to do what you're doing?
It's a little bit of both. I mean, I take a lot of what my dad has done and obviously emulate that. Sometimes it's still funny. I'll feel like I'm still an imposter in this business. But then I think no, you know what you're doing.
That's self-talk.
Yeah.
Defeat it.
Totally. Yeah. That self-talk, nope, you've been around for a while. You know what you're doing. People come to you guys because you're a well-respected name in the industry. So I think it's a little bit of both, and just, my husband's awesome and he's always building me up and all that stuff.
Oh, so so you have a support system.
A good support system for sure.
Yeah. I mean, because that's the hardest thing, I think, especially for women, is making sure that you have the support, especially in a 100% sales role.
100% sales role. Yeah. Any business where you're on your own, or, thinking about making your side hustle your main job, it's you really need that support system to kind of push you off the edge. Go for it. You can do it.
Yeah.
You know what you're doing. You're good at it. And people are going to want to work with you because of that.
Right. Exactly. So as far as what kind of impact you want to have on the profession and industry, I know that you do a lot outside of your
just the sales side.
Yeah, the sales side. What is it? What kind of impact are you looking to create, and why?
Yeah, I hope that I can encourage and inspire other realtors or people in business to really give back to their industry. So I'm on the Professional Standards Committee, which is a great learning experience.
Right.
It's basically we have a code of ethics as realtors, and if there's any complaints, we're kind of the panel that decides. So you hear a lot of different stories about what to do or what not to do.
Exactly.
So it's a really great learning experience. And then I'm also the chair-elect for the Greater Milwaukee Association of Realtors. Their focus really is they're the backbone of our Milwaukee Area Association of Realtors. A lot of government lobbying. So we go to Washington, D.C. every May, lobby to all of the senators there. And
so more people can get
involved and really know that there's a whole lot more to it, to what we do than just, buying and selling side of it. I mean, unlocking the lockbox and opening the door. There's a lot more to it than that.
And I think there's education in the industry around that too,
for sure.
Right? I've had some bad realtors.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure everybody
that are very much they don't even go to the lockbox. They're just here's the address, you go.
Here's the code.
Yeah.
Go on in. Yeah, exactly. So those are the type of things on the Professional Standards Committee that we would, slap on the wrist.
Right.
So yeah, it's definitely a great learning experience. I think too, if you're new in the business, that's a great way to learn and get involved and put yourself out there and make a name for yourself.
Yeah. What would you advise, and also what you've seen with ethics as well, come through, what would be some tips you would give as far as what you would like to see so that the reputation is upheld?
I think professionalism has been a big one for us, but I think we lose a little bit of that professionalism in there, and we want to be viewed as experts in our industry. So professionalism is a big one, and just respectfulness and communication and how we communicate with other agents and lenders and title people and our buyers and sellers, and just be willing to do the extra work or go the extra mile if you need to, and being kind at the end of the day, and you never know what the other person is going through.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is really important because it's every single person, no matter what your profession, leaves a mark on everybody else.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know?
And that's something that I constantly have to remind myself, like, this person isn't, if this person's not pulling their weight, well, who knows what they're dealing with at home or in their personal life or whatever. So just remembering to take the high road. The view is always better.
Yeah. So as far, I'm here speaking at your women's conference.
Yeah.
And what was behind that to have a conference just for women?
I think it's really empowering. We're going on a couple of years of it now. And I think there's over 200 attendees, they said. So that's really exciting. There's going to be, some safety issues, safety for realtors, which obviously as women is really important. And then just motivational things. I think every couple of months, everybody kind of gets tired and drained, and especially in this type of market. So if you can go to the conference and just take one or two ideas or one or two things away, then that's awesome. And you learn something new and you come out of it feeling refreshed and
happy to be
ready to get back in there.
Yeah. And there's other people in it with you.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So I like to just ask some quick fire questions at the end. So pick a category.
Okay.
So family and friends, money, spiritual, or health?
I'm going to go with health.
Okay. So things or actions that I don't have that I want with my health.
That I don't have that I want. I would say I'm still working towards, weight and fitness goals, and just reminding myself that if I set small goals and achieve those over time, that this is a continuous journey, you can always get better.
Right.
So I think just realizing those smaller goals are easier and more important. Yeah.
Sounds like your career as well.
Yeah.
It's the little
step
things
by
over
step.
time.
It is the little things over time will eventually add up, right?
Yeah.
What you focus on expands.
Exactly.
There you go.
All right. So things or actions I do have that I want as far as my health.
I do have that I want. I would say my physical and mental health and happiness.
Okay.
A gym community that I actually enjoy going to.
What's your favorite?
I go to Orange Theory Fitness.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's nice, I go in for the hour. I don't have to look at my phone.
Right.
Somebody else tells me what to do.
Yeah.
So,
and when you say mental health, what do you mean around that? Is it the fact that you do fitness?
The physical fitness exercise side of it is great for your mental health.
Absolutely.
Too.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Things or actions I don't have that I don't want.
I don't have that I don't want. I guess I would say maybe like serious illness or injury that would prevent me from doing these things.
And things or actions that I do have that I don't want.
Oh my gosh. This is going to be the stress eating. The stress eater in me. And I constantly work on it. Or even...
What do you eat that's your go-to stress?
Salty.
Yeah.
Sweet and salty.
Yeah.
Chips, which is why I don't buy them.
Yeah. There you go.
But I also do think, if you get off track, the ability to get right back on track versus like going off the rails.
Right.
So that was like kind of my struggle too. It's like, well, I already did this bad thing. So I'm just going to keep going instead of just being like, nope, that's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and I think it's important, like all your answers are really about something that doesn't have to do with your job.
Yeah.
And that you don't feel guilty about doing it, that is actually making you better at the work that you do or better at home because you take that time for yourself.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So is there anything you'd like to make sure that people come away from this conversation today with? Any big takeaway or lesson that you think is important for others to hear?
Yeah, I definitely think if you are a first or maybe even second time home buyer, if you have that student loan that we talked about or bad credit or even no credit. When I started, it wasn't bad credit. It's just I didn't have any.
Right, exactly.
contact your local realtor, reach out to us. We're here to help you. We want to help you, start taking the right steps that can lead you to meeting that goal and a lot quicker than you can. I think setting boundaries and keeping them, control your business. Don't let it control you.
Yes.
Is a big one.
And I would end with that, except I have another question.
Okay.
Because along those lines of going to your local realtor, are there questions that you would tell people to interview a realtor to make sure they have a good one?
Yeah, definitely. I think that you want to make sure that you're working with someone that is familiar with the neighborhoods that you're interested in buying in.
And how would they know they're familiar with it?
Ask them. How many homes have you sold in this city or with this certain neighborhood? I think experience is a good one, but it's not everything. Somebody who is willing to sit down with you and explain the home buying or selling process in detail. So those buyer and seller consultations, I think, are really important, versus, just sending the email or whatever. I think the face-to-face interaction's a big one.
So if you feel resistance and they're not wanting to spend the time with you,
or they just want the signature on the contract,
exactly.
That might be a red flag.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you so much for taking time with me to have this conversation.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was fun.
Great. And now it's time for the Mindful Moments segment of this podcast, where we step back from the interview and just reflect on some of the stories that Courtney shared with us. And one of them being, which I find fascinating, is a family business that has now gone 3 generations, which is probably longer than many, and that the passion is still there with the people that work in this business. That a lot of times when you talk to family members that are not the first generation, the passion really started with the ones that began the business, and later generations are doing it because that's what they knew. And talking with Courtney was very interesting because it seemed like an area that she was always interested in from when she was young, and found a lot of inspiration by listening to her grandfather and also her father growing up about the real estate business, and understanding that there was a bigger purpose in the work that they did, that it wasn't just selling real estate. It was about the knowledge sharing and how you help people through different life cycles in their life, and you are there to take them on that journey and be there for them. It's more than the transaction. And I think for many in sales that are successful, we realize that it's more than what we're selling. It is the relationship we're creating, and also how we see what we're doing as making an impact. And when she talked about really helping first-time home buyers through the process and educating them and feeling like you're making an impact in their life in one of the most important decisions that they make, that's when we understand our bigger purpose in the work that we do, rather than just doing the work, just making it transactional. And I think for all of us, it's important that we step back and understand our personal purpose in the work that we do, because when we understand that personal purpose, it helps us align our career and the things that we do and the movement we make in our career, so that we make sure that we're feeling a greater sense that our work matters. And if we feel like our work doesn't matter, it's our job to step back from the day-to-day and really understand what our personal purpose is, so we can align that work to it. The other thing that she talked about was just self-confidence, and how starting out in this business, she was in a down market. And a lot of times, especially in a sales situation or as an entrepreneur, when things aren't going well, that's the time when we might throw in the towel or go shift to another type of career. And if we believe in the work that we're doing, I loved that she was able to really attach to, if I can do well in a down market, then that means when things are good, I'm going to do even better. And that mindset in the work that we do is so important. And this can apply in any job that you do, that it's important that we aren't just looking at the work that we do today, that we have a long-term vision, so that when things aren't going great, or when you're not getting along with someone, or when you're not getting the sales that you want to get, that you're able to look at the long-term vision and be able to shift your mindset so that you don't get into that negative thought process, which can be so easy. Now, some of the things that she talked about with how she makes sure that she's feeling fulfilled by the work that she did and things that she's learned along the way was setting boundaries. And I think no matter what work you do, this is an important lesson that we draw into our lives, that we're not always on. And with technology, we can be. And so it's actually hard work to pull ourselves from the technology and really focus on home life or our personal life versus work life, and set those boundaries. And when we set those boundaries, making sure that we allow ourselves to be honest, whether that's with our customers, whether that's with our staff or people that we work with, that we are turning off, so that they don't get personally offended by doing it, else they're not sure why you're not responding. But as long as you're setting expectations of when you will respond or what is constituted as an emergency, then we can give ourselves that break from technology, that break from work, so that either we can take time for ourselves or the people around us, so that we can refuel our energy to be better for the people around us, and not feeling that that this is a guilty thing to do that we actually need to do that in order to re-energize ourselves. One of the things that she also talked about with real estate being such a hard business, but any entrepreneur or really in any career, there are parts of our jobs that we might not like. And in order to be successful, we have to do the parts that we don't like just as much as the parts that we do like, or find a way to outsource those parts. But I thought it was interesting that rather than focusing on the numbers, she was focusing on the activities that she did that drive the overall results. So she was able to go and identify what are the activities that drive the numbers that you want. And rather than focusing on the number, making sure you're keeping up with the activities. And that's the part of business that a lot of people want to ignore because it's a grind. That part is hard. Or it's the parts of our jobs we don't enjoy, so we put it off till the end or procrastinate with those things. And those are the things that we actually need to shift focus to, so we make sure we're successful. And we can't expect business to just come through the door or without working at it, or our careers to go to a different level without doing the stuff we don't enjoy. So really tracking what are those things or activities that we need to do. And maybe those are 3 things that you've got to make a commitment to, but make a commitment to it every single week, so that you know that you're staying on top of that and you're doing the right thing to create the results that you want. And she had some great takeaways that I think are applicable to whatever you do in your career. And that is really about professionalism, being respectful of the people around you, and really just being kind. And all of this levels up to being generous, right? And if we can't give of ourselves to our community, to our customers, to our family, then we can't expect to get back as well. And part of generosity is not having that expectation that you're going to get something back. So it's understanding that because you understand your personal purpose, because you enjoy what you do and it aligns with your values, that communicating in a way that's professional and being respectful of the people around you and finding ways to be kind can generate success and the results that you may have never imagined.
Thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen to the Breaking Beliefs podcast. I hope you will take a moment to pause before entering back into your day to reflect on this podcast and note 1 to 2 actions you are inspired to do from today's conversation that you could incorporate into your life. To read the full blog and listen back to this episode or any other, you can find them at www.amyvetter.com/Breaking Beliefs podcast and related videos on my YouTube channel. For daily inspiration, follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn at Amy Vetter CPA. I hope that you will choose to like this and subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and more, so that you can join us for more inspiration on our next episode.